dance for joy or lust or anger, and every time you haven't got it right, you want
Sensible Secondhand Reviews, the series where we look at practical and sensible cars which you can buy for a budget of between £1,000 and £5,000. This is a 2015 Peugeot 2008 1.2 e-VTi Allure EGC, also known as an EGC, I think, which is unusual. It's basically an automatic version of the 2008 with the robotised manual gearbox. Is it any good? Should you care? Let's find out, shall we? So the first generation 2008 was launched in 2013. This 2015 example is a late pre-facelift model. The facelift occurred in 2016, and it's based on the same platform as the Peugeot 208. It's even got the same kind of problem with the instruments that Peugeot kind of likes to think is the future, but I can only see certain controls from where I'm sitting. I'm going to have to move the steering wheel down, I think. I can see the speedometer, which is the most important thing, so that's fine. Engines available in one of these were this 1.2 e-VTi, also known as a PureTech, with 80 horsepower. Then there was the 108 brake horsepower version of this engine with a turbocharger, and then a 129 brake horsepower version of this engine, also with a turbo. There are also some versions of the 1.6 Prince engine, which is not an engine we can discuss on this channel, and of course we don't talk about diesels on this channel anyway. So far I'm not really getting on with this robotised manual gearbox. It's just as well that actually with the facelift in 2016 Peugeot decided to replace it. So this Allure specification 2008 was towards the top of the range when this car was new in 2015. You can spot this by things like the chrome mirror caps. Actually, one on that side has been replaced. The fog lights, the quite nice alloy wheels, and some rather smart looking roof rails. I think the facelift ones of these do look a bit better, but you know, this will do. I'm very grateful this car's got the parking sensors. When I try to manoeuvre this out, we'll get back to that in a bit, because the forecourt at Langley Prestige near Colchester, where this car's been supplied from, was a bit tight. I was grateful for those parking sensors because the rear one is not the biggest. So yeah, the styling is very much sort of Peugeot with this kind of era. It does look a bit like the 208 and things. We hadn't actually got four-wheel drive in this car. I don't think you get four-wheel drive on any 2008 of this generation at all. But yeah, I mean, it looks alright, I suppose. It depends if you're into that kind of thing. The car's got the same wheelbase as a 208, but it is a bit longer. The length is at the front and the back. Let's open up the boot and take a look inside. So we can see that that mirror housing has been replaced. There's antifreeze in there as well. It's not quite ready to go out in terms of sale and everything yet. But whoop, goes my dealer plate. I better put that back in when I go for a drive. Someone though has been quite a careful owner in here, because we've got the space of spare that's never been used, but also we've got a little kit in here, things like the high visibility vest and things like that. which you know, are sort of things that are very handy on the continent. Actually, you've got this sort of scuff plate here as well, which is handy if you're loading things in and out. The boot floor is actually completely flat, which is really handy for this sort of car. I'll have to put that back in a second. Yeah, so far it's not exactly revolutionary or anything, but it is, you know, just kind of standard for this sort of car. I suppose it's a bit bigger than something like a Nissan Duke. The whole car's bigger than a Duke. They're not my favourite cars, viewers, and I have done one on the channel many years ago, and I don't intend to do another one. Let's get in the back, have a look in here. So we've got a bit more headroom, I think, than the 208. Let me just shut this door with the other hand. There we go. Keep out of the way of everyone who's trying to pass today. Actually, the seats feel really comfortable. We've got a very unusual headlining here. I've never seen anything like this before. That is strange. Legroom isn't the most I've ever seen. This is my driving position. I'm not even 6 foot. I'm about 5'11", and so that's not really that impressive. I drove a Nissan Pulsar yesterday at the time of filming, and that has so much more room than this inside. And they are a little, actually, a bit cheaper than one of these. So yeah, not the most spacious, even by the standards of this sort of class. I mean, it's all right, I suppose, if you're all quite short, but the foot room is amazing. it's vast. I was expecting to see like a rear armrest in this car, but it doesn't have it. It also doesn't have seats that you know, slide forward and recline like a Renault Capture. The backrest is just one position. We've got some map pockets though, I suppose, and we've got some very big door bins in here, which look quite impressive. Again, you can see this sort of issue here with the instruments and the way that they look. I just realised my other camera is still recording, so I better turn that off. That's fine. Now we've got a 12-volt socket down here, and actually it's probably a better angle to show you this sort of lidded storage cubby in the middle. Do you know, this car's done almost 70,000 miles, and actually it's worn it quite well. I'm quite impressed, actually. I thought, you know, the interiors of these wouldn't really stand up to much over time, but this one seems absolutely fine. Right, okay. Yeah, the driver's seat and everything is up to wear a lot better than I thought. Ooh, we've got little sort of glowing bits around the instruments. But again, we just sort of hold it where I would see through, yeah, about there. You can see the speedometer and rev counter okay, and sort of half the screen in the middle. But I'm going to have to move the steering column to actually see things like the mileage, which isn't so good. So there's the central sort of screen. I might have to put the key in a second, but oh dear. This robotised manual gearbox that they replaced with the facelift in 2016. Ooh dear. It's not good. It's like having a learner driver behind a wheel who's still struggling with their clutch control, which is a shame. I don't even know why Peugeot put this into so many cars. Citroën also used it, of course. It's not good. It's not good at all. Also, rather like a normal manual, if you have a problem with this robotised manual, you might have to replace the clutch in that, and that's a bit more involved than replace the clutch in a manual 2008. So just be aware of that. It has got a manual mode. We might try that out a bit later. We've also got some steering wheel paddles. Yeah, again, we've got some nice big sort of storage bins here. We've got hard plastics, but then I'd expect that for this class of car. Ooh, power folding mirrors. Interesting. Yeah, electric windows and everything. Bit of sort of chrome trim. Steering wheel, it looks nice, even though it might not be the best ergonomically. We've got a very strange handbrake. Reminds me of one in the Fiat Panda Mark IV. Now, bear in mind, Stellantis as a sort of entity didn't exist until a couple of years ago, so there is no sort of common design relation between Fiat and Peugeot at this time. Down here we've got a USB port, a 12-volt socket. Actually shows better than it does in real life. Do we have a really tiny glove box? Oh yes, there's no way my secret mission documents are going in there. Absolutely none whatsoever. That's disappointing. Do you have a sunglasses holder? No. It'd be better with the panoramic sunroof, actually. You could get that on some models of the 2008, but you would lose a bit of headroom in the back, so maybe it's not such a good idea. This soft touch material is quite nice, but is it... Oh, it's hard on the dash. Again, a lot of you might not be bothered by that kind of thing, but I just see differences between these cars, you know, the Dukes and the Mockers and all that sort of thing. Even, you know, 2015 was the year the SsangYong Tivoli came out, and that has a very strange sort of selection of hard and soft materials on the dash as well. It is interesting. We've got the controls here for the stereo. Do we have cruise control in this, you know, almost top spec car? Yes, we do. It's on this little stalk down here, and on the other side. I thought, actually, a lot of Peugeots, this is for the stereo things, but that's actually been repurposed for the cruise control, which is fine. You know, it's nice to have that if you actually get up to speed, because 0 to 60 in this car, it takes 14.9 seconds. Wonderful. One thing that is actually wonderful is the air conditioning controls. Actually, got climate control in this, and they're completely separate from the touchscreen, which is a massive relief compared with a lot of the sort of newer cars on the market. Right, let's turn this screen on and see if it's anything interesting. It might not be. Okay, the refresh rate's a bit weird. I've still got a bit of fuel, by the way. It's sort of saying it's too low, but I have still got some. This is taking a long time to turn on. See if I can... That's better, isn't it? Turn that off. Okay, so we've only got 2 buttons on here. SRC and menu. There's no Android Auto Apple CarPlay in this, by the way. Yeah, we keep that off for copyright reasons. Menu. Navigation. Yeah, that's pretty much where we are. Somewhere in the Essex countryside. SRC, that's things like, you know, aux in and things like that. Yeah, we can see we've got iPod, just greyed out there, USB, Bluetooth, and the aux in. And that's it. We have got DAB radio. It's not really a lot else to say. Internet, driving. Just give me sort of fuel figures and things. Oh, right, yes it does. 35 miles per gallon. That's not the best, but I don't know how... Oh gosh, it's over 6,200 miles. Ooh. Second trip. It's not a lot. No, the same. 27 miles. Ah, it's alright, I'll be fine. It's really hard to show this actually on camera, but there's the sort of little central display in there. Actually, the controls for it seem to be kind of on here mainly, which is not the best. Can we go through like this and see things? It's really weird. This, like I'm in reverse at the moment. Let's maybe put it neutral. There we go. So maybe it will show me a few more things, but I don't necessarily think it will. I think that's most of what it shows me. If I press OK, will that do anything? No. Right, I don't really want to fiddle around with those buttons too much. Oh yeah, well, it's just for maintenance, just indicators. Yeah, well, that's sort of... anyway, it's not that important, is it? Well, so stop fumbling around with this kind of stuff. Most of you probably aren't interested in that sort of thing anyway. And let's open up the bonnet and see what lies beneath. For the wind noise viewers. Well, here is a very, very clean little engine. The 1.2 e-VTi or PureTech, generating about 80 horsepower. It's a 3-cylinder and it has a wet timing belt. So we might get a wet timing belt alert in a bit. Yes, these engines are quite infamous for the problems of a wet timing belt. And make sure on one of these that actually that timing belt is replaced before it says in the maintenance schedule. Because there are so many problems reported with this at the moment. There are a few other issues as well that we'll sort of go into in just a second. But yeah, actually, it looks, apart from that, relatively easy to work on. Apart from the automatic gearbox is kind of down there. It is just an automated manual, which is not my favourite type of gearbox, but there we go. Anyway, that is enough of me waffling on. Let's get back on the road, shall we? One really quite a frustrating thing about this car, that's nothing to do with, you know, like, I don't know, problems with things like the engine and fuel leaks and things like that, but just generally kind of annoying. At least the brakes are alright there, because somebody in a Golf came just hurtling towards me. It's the stereo. It's not necessarily a fault, it's just a built-in design issue with it, in that every single time you turn the stereo on, and it's regardless of whether you have it on mute or not, the radio comes on at medium volume. I'm not sure I can do anything about it. The first thing I've had to do about 5 or 6 times is turn the radio off. Off again. Thank you. Dear me. Anyway, yeah, this sort of iCockpit that Peugeot calls it was actually alright in the 208 that I drove at Langley Prestige back in the summer, but it's really annoying me this time. I don't know why. I just don't think it's very good. The steering feel of the car is actually alright. It's fine. Let's see if we can actually get up to some speed. Let's try the manual mode. Yeah. Oh, you know, it doesn't feel quite as slow as I thought it was going to feel. There we go, 5th gear, and then we can use that one to go down to 4th. Yeah. Ride is fine. Steering wheel's very small, so I suppose it takes a bit of getting used to, but it depends where you want your ground position to be. But personally, for me, I'm not getting on with this particularly well. Anyway, yeah, it's pleasant enough. It doesn't feel as slow as I thought it could. Up a gear, there we go. Let's put it back into just normal automatic. I suppose it depends what you want out of your car. You want this kind of slightly interesting, futuristic look. You can sort of see the speedometer and rev counter and things at the fuel gauge and everything. Or, you know, do you want something that, I don't know, is a bit more conventional and perhaps more conservatively engineered than this? I don't know. I shall leave the ultimate choice up to you. So let's look at some first generation Peugeot 2008 trim levels. The most basic one was called the Access Air Conditioning and was only available with the most basic engine. There was also an Access Plus that was available with a wider range of engines, and then the Active, the Allure like this one, and the Allure Premium. Those were the original sort of launch trims. Then we get on to other ones like the Crossway. I don't quite know why it's called that. The Feline, the GT line, don't expect it to have any more power than the standard ones though. The Signature and the Urban Cross. The Feline, Allure and Allure Premium models actually got this thing called grip control, which is a sort of replacement for 4-wheel drive for kind of soft roaders like this. I mentioned earlier about some of the issues that you can have with a first generation 2008, and there were quite a lot of recalls for these material weights that they're based on. Fuel leaks, oil leaks, suspension issues. This EGC or ETG automatic gearbox isn't great. This touchscreen works absolutely fine, but there have been some problems reported with them. And yeah, the infamous wet belt issues with the lovely PureTech engine, and the Prince engine's not good, and we don't talk about diesel on this channel. So viewers, should you consider a first generation 2008 with your hard-earned budget of up to £5,000? I don't know. I think there are probably cars that might suit you a bit better. It drives all right. I don't like this gearbox. I mean, a manual one would probably be better. but that's not what was available for me to drive today, so we're driving this one. And it's in quite nice condition. I've had problems today, and I suspect that actually some of you might have those problems, but you might not. This might be everything that you need, in which case it's available for sale at Langley Prestige near Colchester. Anyway, thank you very much indeed once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave a comment below, and we shall see you again very soon for some more reasonably priced motoring.